as employers. And
Right.
so that's essentially how we chose which programs to go in. And since we're in a STEM area, and STEM area is growing in the area, that's where we've concentrated many of our programs being STEM programs. And also business-related programs. So one of the first programs we did was the MBA program.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was the engineering program. So those are the first two programs that we did when we got started. And with the MBA program, we kept hearing from the businesses and industry and saying, in particular STEM, saying, the people we hire as engineers are great engineers, but then when they get to mid-level management, they know nothing about business and how running a business.
Right.
If you did an MBA, and so that's got us started saying, okay, well, maybe we can put an MBA together that'll help these people out. So that was the first program. And then the other program that they talked loud and clear was, hey, you guys don't have an engineering program. And we hire engineers from other universities, from out of state, or even from Columbia or Clemson. They come here, they spend 2 years, and then they move away.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we had a pipeline of local students who are engineers who are more likely to stay in the area. And so we worked very hard to put an engineering program together. And matter of fact, what I did was I pulled some scientists and engineers from about 13 different businesses in the area and said, hey, if you were to hire an engineer, what type of program would you want them to go through? And so they actually designed the curriculum. I just facilitated that. I mean, because I know nothing about engineering. I'm a wildlife biologist. You ask me about coyotes, I can answer questions about coyotes, but don't talk to me about engineering because I don't know enough about it. And so I just facilitated the process, and they're the ones who came up with the program that we have now, which is the Industrial Process Engineering Program. And we have over 200 majors in that. And so, those little things that, trying to help the community get the workforce that they need. And so that's how we went about it. And so the STEM fields, since we have a large STEM area in the area, those were the areas that we went after. Then the other thing we looked at was our math computer science program. That was a combined math computer science degree, which was essentially designed in the 70s. And talking to our local businesses and industry, they said, that was great 30 years ago, but now we really need a little bit more specialization, something in applied mathematics and certainly something in computer sciences. And then certainly with the cyber command moving from Virginia down here over the next couple of years, one of the things they said, well, if you do a computer science program, can we do something in cyber? And then the other thing we heard from them was, can we do something in virtual reality? And we're calling it advanced gaming, where that is where it's not talking about Game Boys and stuff like that, but it's really how do you train people to do things that you really can't do in person. Like, how do you train somebody to clean a nuclear reactor? Well, you can't just ship them into a nuclear reactor.
Right.
That's all done by virtual reality. So
right.
That's what we mean by advanced gaming. How are these get somebody into how can they design and develop these programs and protocols to train people to do things that you may not be able to do face to face, at least not up front.
Right.
So that's how those programs came to be.
Yep. Makes a lot of sense. I want to talk a little bit about, you've been really involved with public service over the years, over the course of your career. Is there any particular sort of public service activities that you particularly enjoy or have found meaningful?
Well, and part of my job. I mean, I've always enjoyed working with school systems and teachers. That's where my heart has always been. Working with teachers and students, and so all the stuff that I've done on committees and things with schools has always been particularly satisfying and rewarding. It's one of the things we're working now with the school district to put the Aiken Scholars Academy on our campus, which is going to be a high school located on our campus. Those types of things I think are going to help the area, and those are the types of things I really enjoy. I
see. So you'll actually have high school students on the college campus, so they sort of get acclimated to the college life a little bit. Is that the idea? Yeah.
So the idea there is and this is for the top 10% students in the Aiken County area. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to take their first 2 years of high school courses on campus in a classroom setting like they normally would in high school, except that the high school will be located on their campus. Mm-hmm. Then when they get to their junior and senior year, they will actually go out onto our campus and take regular college classes like English 101, English 102, Biology 101, and things like that.
Right.
And so that when they get through with their high school career, they can get up to 60 hours of college credit, and the school district is going to pay for that college credit.
Wow, it's amazing. So they're
just a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, they're going to. So will you be offering like an associate, like high school diploma hybrid thing, or are you just
since we're a 4-year institution, we can't offer associate's degrees.
Got it.
But essentially, they'll get out of here with 60 hours of credit that should transfer to most institutions around the country. And so essentially, if they play their cards right, in 2 years out of high school, they can graduate with their bachelor's degree.
Right.
And so, that saves a lot of money for the family and things like that. So that's an exciting program that will be starting this fall.
Yeah, there's a great program. My wife taught in one for a couple years here in New York, and it's a great springboard for the students to get in, stay in college once they get through that program. Any advice for the next provost?
Again, I've always looked at this job as facilitating, trying to help the folks who work with me make sure they have the tools necessary to do what they need to do to get the job done. Mm-hmm. The other thing is I tell folks in our positions, particularly administration, is you can't take things too personally, because obviously you get folks who are upset with you, and they're upset with you not because of you personally.
Yeah.
They're upset with the situation. They're upset with themselves, but you're the one who ends up getting the brunt of the anger and stuff like that. And so you can't take it personally because otherwise you'd just be sitting in the corner sucking on your thumb.
Yeah, for sure. Just sort of 10,000 feet question, if you don't mind. In your decades of teaching, working as an administrator, provost, anything you point to as a major change in education, something you've noticed, a significant change that's noteworthy to you?
Well, and the change I'm going to talk about is not necessarily a positive change. Mm-hmm. When I first came here at USC Aiken 30 years ago, our funding from the state was, I say 80%, but certainly 60% or more. Mm-hmm. Our funding from the state right now is less than 15%,
wow.
13%. And so, I don't see many folks who are in government who value education like they once did. Mm-hmm. One time they thought education, or at least the talk was, it was an investment in the future, and I don't think they look at it as an investment anymore. They look at it more as an expenditure. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between those two thoughts. And so, it was probably about the time the economy tanked in 2008, but certainly it's become more prevalent. Mm-hmm. We hear more folks saying that, you really don't need to go to college. And not that college is for everybody. I'm also a proponent saying that, college is not for everybody. But to hear somebody say that it's not worth your time and effort to go to college, I find that troubling. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I've seen that sort of thought has changed over the years, in particular over the last 10 years. Because what we do here at USC Aiken is we change people's lives. If you look at our demographics here, we have 60% of our students are considered low income. 21% of those are actually considered at the poverty level when you look at the federal definition of poverty. And so when these folks graduate from us and get a job, they're not only changing their own lives, they're changing their families' lives. And that's what a college education can do for you. And I think people sometimes lose sight of that. And that's why I say it's really an investment in the future. Mm-hmm. And it's not just an expenditure. But I think people are losing sight of that.
Right. Now that you'll be moving on as of the beginning of July, any what are your plans? Are you going to have a lot of free time in your hands, or have you planned some activities?
People always ask me what my plans are. My plans are for at least a little while do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Now, by nothing, I mean, I won't be teaching or anything like that. My wife and I have a house that I've neglected for 30 years.
Okay.
That needs some repairs and stuff like that, so I'll be doing something along those lines. And I've also told them I'd like to work on my golf handicap.
Yeah.
I really suck at golf, and I'd like to beat my son once again, at least one more time, so I can rub it in one last time.
Okay.
Then I'll be satisfied. And I imagine we'll probably do a little bit of traveling, but for a little while, I'll be just hanging around here and working around the house and just trying to decompress after 30 years of being in higher ed.